ready? It's the Roundtable with me, Robert Bannon. Well, hey everybody, welcome to another edition of the Roundtable. My name is Robert Bannon. I'm excited to talk about Labor Day, Atlanta. What are you all doing? Anybody down south, you know that Labor Day in Atlanta is one of the largest pride celebrations in this whole entire country. And we have Dr. Zackory Kirk here to tell us, Doctor, I'm just going to bring you right out. Let's just get this right started. Right out here.
Hello, Robert, and all of your viewers. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here. Well, you have made quite the name and reputation for yourself on social media, out and about here, giving your advice and being an activist. Your handle is actually I think I spelled, there's an extra Z in there. Right? It's the Zactivist on Instagram. I want people to know that.
Yeah, and TikTok. Also, Zactivist on TikTok. So you got the two. And I do a lot of social media activism on TikTok as well.
There you go. And I fixed it. Editing is important, everybody. He's a doctor. I better get my life. He means he's written papers and doctorate things. You have decided to be an activist, and you're in Georgia.
I am. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm a native of Mississippi, and I've been in Georgia since 2004. So as soon as I graduated college with my master's, I came to Atlanta, and this has been home ever since.
And now a doctorate. Was that something that you always dreamed of having? Was that always a goal?
So, I was a public school educator for 17 years of my life. And so in that process, as you know, as the world finally realizes, most of our public school educators are woefully underpaid. So the only way that you really were able to obtain a pay raise as a teacher was through advanced degrees. So that was kind of my motivation, my impetus to push through. I was very fortunate in that I was a Bill Gates Millennium Scholar. And I received a scholarship in 1999, and that scholarship paid for the doctoral work that I did later in my life.
Okay. Well, before we get into pride, I have a lot to say to you now. Because
yeah, absolutely, Robert. I looked all through your channel and saw all your great interviews. So I know that you're a great interviewer, so don't hold back. Any question that comes to mind, I am going to answer for you, my friend. I'm an open book.
Oh, well, thank you. That scares me and appreciates me. Whenever people say they watched the other things, I said, oh, no, you still agreed to come on this messy show. As a public school teacher, I have, like you said, I'm a public school teacher, 2 master's degrees. I don't have my doctorate, but you only get paid. You only get money when you get these advanced degrees. A lot of people carry gigantic student loans because of it. Yeah. You trying to make your money and make a difference. I am year 15 in a 5th grade. God, I pray that at 17 years I leave. As you said, 17 years, I said, if they told me 2 more years, I can do 2 more years. Get me out. No, I want to say to you, as an out educator, how do you marry all the parts of your life? You have
that's a beautiful question, and you can't. And it's so horrible to say this, that you really cannot be a truly out educator in many parts of the country. And a lot of people don't understand that. And I'm glad that we're having this conversation, because a lot of work that I do is around how the different worlds we live in work, right? So for a white member of the LGBTQI+ community and Black members, sometimes things can be very, very different. And many times people, we celebrate coming out, and we celebrate like National Coming Out Day. For a lot of people, it's not safe to come out. And for a lot of educators still living in parts of this country, some in the South, some in rural America, it's not safe to come out. Literally, a young man was crying on TikTok. I saw a video last night where he lost his job, his first day on the job, because he told someone he had a partner. And he was terminated immediately on the spot in the state of Florida. So for me, my personal life never came into my classroom. Could it have come into my classroom? Maybe. I don't know if it would have had much of an impact on me or the curriculum that I'm teaching, but I bet you that it would have perhaps made a difference to some of my LGBTQA+ students, for them to know that this is what adulthood looks like, for them to know that it really truly does get better later, because that is a huge model that we know, but many young young people don't know. Now, I can't say that 16-year-old Zackory knew that then. It may have made a difference in that way. So it wasn't something that ever I denied as an educator, but it also wasn't something that was on public display. If I could, and to be transparent. Also, as an educator in the South, I doubt that I would be as vocal or as courageous with my activism if I was still in public education. I've transitioned into the private sector, and a part of that transition came in the fact that there was a lot more I wanted to do in the next phase of my life than what I was doing then. I was a great educator. I loved it. I received awards for Teacher of the Year, Star Teacher multiple times. I taught at the secondary level. And I loved it, but I realized there was other things I wanted to do, and that the only way to do those things was to leave, public education.
I'm going to become your friend, because I'm going to need to text and call you and write you and DM you and be like, I everything you said is so relatable to me. I don't mean to turn this about.
No, and Robert, follow me on LinkedIn, and any educators out there. I'm sure you have a network full of educators, because you're on the West Coast, right?
I'm in New York.
In New York, right? And I'm everywhere, right? So, on LinkedIn, I do a lot of support with career transition for teachers, free of charge, just helping people find jobs. I post jobs, I give advice, because there's some things that no one talks about. And one of the things that no one talks about as when you leave education is something that probably is happening to you and you don't even realize it's happening. Is that so much of who you are is connected to being a teacher. And so your whole identity is about your career. That's not normal. We think it's normal because it's our normal. But the majority of professions, that's not what they do. They leave work at work and they live a life beyond. They have interests that go beyond education. We're in Facebook groups about education. We tweet all day about education. We search all night on the internet about education. And it's such a part of our personality that once we leave it, there is something that happens that's like a void. That's like a weirdness. That's like you're out of place. And you have to throw yourself into the new identity of the work that you're choosing to embrace and find purpose in other areas. Those of us who are good educators are truly called to educate. You will never stop being a teacher, Robert. You'll never stop being an educator. But you will find that there are new places for your teaching skills to exist, and there are new platforms that will become your classroom. For me now, TikTok is my classroom. Instagram is my classroom. Being able to talk to you in this way, this is my classroom. And I fully embrace that. And it really gives me a lot of purpose in what I do.
Well, everything happens for a reason. I appreciate this conversation with you, truly. I want to say that I came out later in life. I came out at 33 years old. I was married. I had another lifetime ago and became a school teacher. And when I came out, and I started to perform, started the show, started to speak out, especially during Pride or through the laws that have been tried to be passed around this country, and trans rights and LGBTQI plus rights, etc. I have become public. And it's been interesting in school, because I walk into a 5th grade classroom, and anyone that Googles my name, out singer, LGBT performer, the Roundtable celebrates Pride with, and it has to become a part of my identity. It was very fearful as a school teacher, because I didn't know what the reaction was going to be from the administration and from the district. But what I dare them to say anything now, but what I do, and I have that privilege because I'm in this area. Not everybody has that.
You're in a state where unions matter, and in the South, unions aren't allowed at all.
Exactly right. And we have a teachers union that's so important, and there's so many places. And I know in private schools, there have been court cases in New Jersey, New York about, people who have a partner and they're public and they get fired from their job and lose their job. So it's so important for me to speak out. And I can't tell you, Dr. Kirk, how many students have come to me and come out to me and talk to me about their families and because they don't have anybody. They don't have a tangible person and it's so important to be representative for people, period.
I agree 100%. And that is exactly why, I'm trying to slowly bridge gaps in Atlanta with our, with the Pride event.
Yes. Well, see, he's a professional. So when we, Georgia, quite the hot topic. I mean, any news going on in Georgia this past few weeks? So yeah. You are about to come to Labor Day and put this event on. When did you decide to take on That's my dog, who is very excited that you're here. I apologize.
Mwah.
His name is Lawrence, and he is something. Can I ask you maybe this is an inappropriate, uncomfortable question, but my question to you about Pride, especially, Black Pride, Atlanta Pride this weekend, and you brought it up and mentioned it before, there seems to be sometimes I have a partner of color, and growing up in church, he grew up in the Midwest. There's a very different experience
Yeah.
from my experience growing up in New Jersey, and the privilege that I've had as a white man, cis man, and that has come out, versus a lot of the stigma that's in different communities in different parts of this country. What do you say to the queer community that doesn't understand the plight of queer people of color, trans,
That's a beautiful question, Robert. And I'm so glad and I actually have never publicly spoke. I love it when I'm able to talk about things that I've never talked about, because I talk about so many things. Like anything that pops in my head will become a TikTok. It will become content. So I'm so thankful to have this question. I've never talked about it publicly. And this is going to be, I'm going to try to weave in some historical context around Atlanta Pride to get to my point. So one thing that I really care a lot about is history and context. And so I moved to Atlanta in 2004, and we had the largest Black gay nightclub in the United States at that time, called Trax. It was a phenomenal building, a warehouse. It was based on the clubs in New York. That's what they started from. It was started by four friends in 1983. They started having house parties where they would gather together because they were not welcome in the Atlanta white clubs. There were no Black gay clubs that they could go to except one, and it was overcrowded. And they're like, "This is ridiculous. You got to get there like before the club doors even open." And the white clubs wouldn't want them there. They would not bar them from entering because that was illegal, but they made you have 3 pieces of ID if you were Black. That was legal. 3, can you imagine having to have a license, a social security card, and your birth certificate just to go to a club and buy a drink? And when they played Planet of the Apes on the televisions throughout the whole club night. This was in 1983. And so they started having house parties that spilled out. They collected money, they raised money, and they opened their own club, and it became the largest one in the country. The club was then purchased by the Atlanta Aquarium in 2006 or 8, and then they had to move, and they started trying to find a new location, and they weren't able to, and then they ended. But Black Pride in Atlanta is anchored by those 4 men, and they were instrumental in bringing this to the city, branching out. They brought in artists like Nicki Minaj before she was Nicki Minaj. Like, they brought her to Atlanta. They gave back to the community. They fed the homeless. They created, huge spaces for LGBTQ youth. They were so instrumental in the community. And unfortunately, 2 of them have passed away. But I had a chance to sit down with Philip Boone, one of the original founders and members. And this year, they started in 1983. This will be their 40th year. Pride in Atlanta still happens. It's the largest Black gay pride in the world. In the world, we have about 500,000 people coming to Atlanta every Labor Day for different events, including Dragon Con. About 150,000 of them will definitely be people here for Black gay pride. Men, women, all members and spans of the LGBTQA plus spectrum. And now, the spirit of what was there in the beginning 40 years ago is a little bit different. It's very commercial. It's very much about going to the clubs. It's all about a big name draw, like a big, huge celebrity. And I won't say any names because I'm not trying to throw shade. I'm just trying to say it's great to have the big commercial success. It is great to party with Saucy Santana. But you know what? There's also a brand new Saucy Santana out there yet who is not yet known. They have a lot of talent. They have a lot of energy. They have a lot of passion. And they just need a stage. I feel as though at my age, it is my responsibility to give to the younger people in this community that stage. And that's what motivated me to have the Atlanta Black Gay Pride Showcase. So it's going to be a party. We have a celebrity DJ. Her name is DJ Rowe. She owns a local internet-based radio station here called 94.7 The Link. She's amazing. She's the celebrity DJ for one of the Yin Yang twins. She performs with Missy. I mean, you name it, she's been there with them. She's also a member of our community, so she's our DJ. And so we're going to have a party scene, but we're also going to bring out some of the best independent artists that you need to know on that stage. We're providing videography for them. We're providing photography for them, all free of charge to them, not to me, but to them, so that they get clips and videos and social media material. We're having a fashion showcase for the young people who are in our community who love design, who are putting together collections, who have no place to showcase it. We are going to showcase it here. And then we're going to continue the party with a male review. That's our erotic male dancers, because gay pride is a huge spectrum. That's why it's a 10 p.m. start event, so that we go from the brightest lights in our community to the red lights of our community and really showcase everything that being Black and proud in Atlanta is all about. And that's why we do it and why I'm doing it. I hope I'm not too long, Robert.
No, please, you can stay as long as you want. I hope we're not keeping you too long. It sounds like a really fun, it's going to be a fun time. It is going to be a party. But
it's open bar too, right? Because you got to be competitive. Like, there are at least 12 other huge events happening all at the same time, right? So again, it's open bar. It's going to be, I think, a great time. I'm just hoping that we get a good turnout. But even if the turnout isn't ideal, it's still going to be, it's going to pop off. It's going to be great. And it's going to continue. I am committed to 5 years of this, to see how far we can take it, how big we can let it grow, and how many people we can influence, inspire, and empower.
Well, as somebody who does prides and performs, I can't tell you how important it is as an independent artist to have a platform, to be able to go somewhere and be able to get your music out as a part of a community. So you're doing.
So you guys come next year. We'll have you on the stage next year.
You don't have to tease. I will get in the car right now and start walking.
For Labor Day 2024.
I'm in. Let's go. But I'm telling you, for seriously, the markets that I've gotten to go to, it's because there are people out there that are running pride events that are looking for. We can't all be Mariah, and we don't all have the budget, and we don't all have the budget for these, Christina Aguilera people. And there's people out here putting out music that need a platform. So you're providing that for them. Can you tell us it's going to great causes? It's not just for you. It's not just.
No. So the 3+1 is like an organization that I started, and it's where all of my activism falls under that umbrella, right? So you're putting on and you're producing this program for your viewers. The program isn't free. The platform you use isn't free. The resources, equipment that you have, it's not free. It has a cost involved. So I'm taking my funds and my resources, investing in this, hoping to slowly build up bank to have other events for the exact same purpose. And the whole purpose of 3+1 Media is to combat misinformation and disinformation in our communities. We have been constantly targeted as members of the LGBTQA+ community, and we're under a constant assault for our rights and our personhood. And it shifts. Right now, the unfortunate focus of the target and the fire are our brothers and sisters who happen to be trans. And we have a responsibility to combat the misinformation being perpetrated by opponents. We'll call them opponents to that community. We must protect them. And that's something that 3+1 Media is focused on. But in addition to that, there is an unbelievable effort among a number of people to disinform the Black community. And it is an overdrive. And it was so disappointing to wake up today and see all over my social media feeds images of the former president, Donald Trump, and his indictment situation in Atlanta being glorified as like hip hop royalty. Now Trump is one of us. Trump is down with the people. Trump is now, he's with the hood. These were things that were being portrayed on social media, not, I don't think, by members of the Black community, but by people being paid to put that in the Black community because they're trying to target certain people in this community to have them switch over their votes or not vote at all. It's a form of very careful, calculated voter suppression that people know will work. And so that's what we combat, and that's what we fight against. You may have seen this amazing creator on TikTok named JJ Williams. If you don't follow JJ, you need to. there is, Robert, a website and an Instagram page called the Shade Room. They are known for like gossip and like hip hop news, and everyone follows the Shade Room. But what people don't realize is they're also known for misinformation, and they are very careful and calculated in how they put out misinformation about the Black community or to the Black community. And their number one target is President Joseph R. Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris. They continuously portray a narrative of they don't care about Black people. Kamala isn't Black enough, and Joe Biden doesn't like Black people. So with the Maui fires, they perpetuated a whole entire misinformation campaign that talked about President Biden was only giving $700 to Maui victims, but $41 billion to Ukraine. That was the big headline, the big talking point. Well, JJ was able to debunk that with evidence that showed them trying to be duplicitous, then take it down when they're called on it, then put it back up when we forget about it. And it was a beautiful, and finally, there are a number of Black people vowing to never follow and support the Shade Room again. It is my hope that within 5 years also, 3+1 Media can be, the Black community, the brown communities, and the LGBTQIA plus communities answer to the Shade Room. So once they give us this information, we can write it with the truth, because all we have to do is put in the work to make that happen, and I think it'll be there. And so that's where the funds will go. That is the purpose of the 6 events that I plan each year with 3+1 Media.
Well, wow. Wow. If all of the communities that are under attack just got together and went out and voted and understood that when something is done to me, it is done to you, and when it's done to you, it's done to me, then there is no going back. And I feel like we keep going backwards, and we take a step and take 4 steps back. It feels sometimes it's very hard. How do you wake up every morning when you wake up and see the news, when you see voter suppression, when you see them gerrymandering districts and senates and judge seats to affect marginalized communities? How do you continue and get the energy to keep going?
It is truly a calling. It is natural. It's a fire inside. And I often think back to like how and why is that fire there? I think a big part of it is that the number one job the most important title, some people say my most important title is being a husband. My most important title is being a father. My most important title is probably being a big brother. Like that's what I am. I am a big brother. Like I have 2 younger sisters, and I'm the oldest, and it's just natural for me to be that big brother, to be the hero, to step in, to save the day, to fight, to protect. That's just so natural for me that it's easy. I wake up and it's my job. It is what I was born to do. I believe that God orders every step of life, and I was chosen to be a big brother. I was chosen for this role. I was put here, and all the things that I've learned to do and all the experience that I've had all lead to what comes next, and what comes next. And all of this is going to lead to what will come next. And so that's kind of what keeps me going. But every day the need gets greater and greater, unfortunately. And I wish that wasn't the case. And, you learn what you need to learn in the time that you need to learn it so that you're better prepared for the fights ahead. And, it's okay to have it's okay to have a life of fight if that's a life of progress, even if it's slow incremental progress. As long as we keep moving forward, it's worth it.
Well, one way we can all start is by supporting all the work that's being done, and then go this weekend and have a good old time, and know that the money is going towards providing truth and not being manipulated by the media and other sources, which is no one wants. No one wants that. So we're going to follow at the Zactivist. So we can, and there's a link right to Eventbrite where you could get your tickets. You can have open bar, you can have the DJ experience, you can have the mail review experience. And then how many performances are there? How many performers?
Oh my goodness, we have 5 amazing performances that run the gamut from this amazing alternative soul performance from this wonderful artist named Cellophane to like this really great like I don't know what to call it. Like what do we call Cardi B and Nicki Minaj? Like it's rap, but it's hip hop, but it's ratchet. It's amazing. Hoochie Mama, from this amazing woman who happens to be trans, and her partner Roman Xavier and Pretty to Go. It's just a great lineup. I've carefully vetted these artists. We got JJ Jones. We have these amazing guys who are self-described Blasians, and they're known as the It's Dream Boys. And, I'm just like in awe of the talent that's out there. And also, slightly frustrated with the way the industry works, as I'm sure you are. And, because again, it's so gatekept. And they only are willing to allow this one person in who has this magic arraignment of talent and luck and opportunity and network to be able to even get access to what the industry provides. But that's okay, because here's the thing. As I've gotten older, I've learned that it's not, what the industry tells us is great. It's what we know to be great. And I know these artists are great artists. And anyone who comes to the event, they're going to truly have a great experience.
What you said it rings so true to me, because I know that the gatekeeping in this business, when I went to college, they called it the Oprah effect. Like, there's one example. Look, she's a woman of color and she's a billionaire, so we're not racist, we're not misogynist, we're not sexist.
I love Oprah. Because I love Oprah, I can't be any of those things.
Of course. And in show business,
so therefore I can't. See, he's on the stage.
Exactly right. But nowadays, with social media and with platforms like yours, people can take their career, and they don't need the record label and the manager and the agent. You can create your own.
That's right. And that's the hope, is that, everyone comes together at this event. They create new fans, and they begin to build the followings they need to get to wherever they want to go.
Well, we got to support everyone. You got to go to Instagram. You got to go to TikTok. You have to go to the Zactivist. If you're listening on our podcast, it's at TheZacktivist. I spelled it right the second time. Well, I need to, next Labor Day, before I go back to work.
Right. You will be in Atlanta having the time of your life.
It's a date.
Have you ever attended? Have you ever come to Atlanta?
No.
Oh my goodness. We'll have I have a whole agenda for you, because Atlanta is such an amazing city. And I get it. Like, I think to myself often, if I didn't live here, would I want to come here? And if I didn't know what I know, of course not. We don't have a beach. We don't have any mountains. We're a city. Like, so what makes Atlanta not be Cleveland? It is the fact that Atlanta has so much amazing culture, and Atlanta we have great food, but we also have some things that you can't see anywhere else, like the Center for Civil and Human Rights. We've been to multiple civil rights museums all across America. You can go to the Black History Museum in DC, but you, Robert, cannot go anywhere else and learn the true history of human rights struggles in this country, and how the whole world has spent a huge effort to oppress the rights of members of the LGBTQA plus community. But that is right here in Atlanta. A whole entire beautiful display section of how the world has coalesced to harm this community, but yet how this community has found continuous ways to rise above that and still demonstrate their pride.
Okay, so that sounds amazing. Listen, you're gonna have to take me to eat.
That's right.
I want some good Atlanta, Georgia, Southern cooking. How can you not love Atlanta? You have the Braxtons, you have Peaches, come on, I'm in. I'm all about it.
Housewives, old and new, yes. Right here in this city. You're right.
You can't forget Candy and Portia and Nene and all right. So let's see. I told you, our people. We're gonna follow, and we are going to let you know that we're gonna be following and tagging and liking, and everybody, anyone within the sound of my voice that's gonna be going down to Black Pride in Atlanta for Labor Day weekend. Make sure that this is the event to go. It's gonna be a good cause, and it's gonna be a great night. It's such a pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Robert.
That was some woo. When you do it right, you got something to say. We should look. I mean, the curtain is coming down. We just knocked the socks off with that one. Everybody, love one another, support one another. The best is yet to come. This has been the Roundtable. Make sure you follow and support. And we'll be here next time. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to need to think about all of that. That was something. Bye, everybody. Be well. Take care.